Welcome back to Fighters Drinking Coffee. I say it like that because I like to watch the sound level rise. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Welcome back to Fighters Drinking Coffee, guys. So recently I had two super fights in the pit. Went down to NGA.
Doing some match breakdown, some match analysis, guys.
A little bit of breakdown. But so it was my first experience actually competing in the pit. Like I always thought the pit was super cool. That's actually why I wanted to do this. But so I got two matches in the pit. Had to rush through them. Had to get home to the family.
Get in, get out, do your job.
But so I got some matches in the pit. Got to like watch a few. A lot less pit work from some of the guys than others, watching like some of the blue belt stuff. So they had a blue belt quintet going on. I competed at 145, which is 5 pounds lighter than usual. Now given I used to compete at 135.
Yeah, but
back when I fought
many years ago.
That was many years ago.
You've grown literally.
But I also had 24 hours from weigh in to fight time. Like,
big difference.
Vastly different than 2 hours, right? So it was a little tougher than I remember, but it wasn't too bad. I really didn't feel it until I was there.
2 hours is not a ton of time.
No, it's more like the drive down. So like I walk around about 155, fed and watered. So it's about a 10-pound cut, but 2 hours to replenish that. Now I weighed in at 145.2. My allotment was 146. So like fucking perfect. And then watered up. I was back up to 153 by match time. So that was pretty good. Got hydrated well. I wish I brought more water with me though, because I was so thirsty when I left. But I had two matches in the pit. First time competing in the pit. Both guys. One guy actually trains in the pit every day. So his gym has one. The other guy, he's competed in the pit a few times. So he's competed at this promotion a few times. I'd seen him compete. I'd coached against him. And I had a training partner that started training with Alex over at Vanguard who had also competed against him. So I had some good
intel.
I had some really good intel. Second guy had a little bit less. I had someone who had seen him compete, but like having like kind of coached someone through competing with the other guy and having someone who physically competed with them made a big difference, right? Like that it changes things. You know what that person likes to do. You have like actual hands-on experience. But so kind of started breaking it down, it's match day, got some good warm-ups. My buddy James, Doc, as we called him at the gym, different, not the doctor.
Got a doc.
Different doc. Also
everyone needs a doc, man.
Everyone needs a brown belt dentist.
That's right.
This is a thing that you should have in your life.
I agree.
But so he came up. He trains down in Richmond now, but so it was down in Fredericksburg. So he met me up there so he could coach me.
So this was in Fredericksburg.
So this was in
NGA.
It was at the lab instead of at High Noon.
Okay.
But so, I had a coach there, which was good. Which actually, especially having two matches, it was good to have someone like afterwards to like, hey, like, here's what you did well. Here's what you should focus on next. Like, think about this if you're in those positions again next time. So, I mean, that was pretty good. Good to have someone like that you're comfortable with for warm-ups too. Not like you have to grab a random person in the fighter area. But, like usual things, super fights, I'm like way more nervous before. I don't know why.
One-on-ones maybe?
Yeah, I think it's like one-on-one, like people are watching, so it's a little bit different. But once I get the first roll, like I just basically, once you get through the warm-up,
you're
good to go. IBJJF's a lot less nervous, probably because nobody's watching you, or it feels like no one's watching you.
Well, there's like other people there's like 8 matches going on.
Yeah, like it just feels less. I think it's a more something more comfortable. It's more like a wrestling meet, like wrestling tournament. It's just a more comfortable scenario. I don't know. I don't feel like I need to warm up as often for those. I still do, but like I don't I mean, like I don't need it for the nerves as much as like the other, getting the heart rate up.
Yep.
But the first match, it's fun, pretty cool. You hop into the pit, you slide down the wall. First match guy was he's a taller dude, but I mean I definitely generally the bigger guy. He was just taller.
Tall, skinny.
Taller, skinny guy.
Tall, skinny build.
We get in there, slap, bump. He immediately pulls guard, which was expected. I thought maybe he'd like want to feel it out a little bit longer, but I think
he just didn't want to mess around with the wrestling.
Yeah, I think he had an idea of like this guy's a wrestler. Yeah. There's a lot of data on me. It's so it's easy enough to find it. In fact, I think I saw him and my second opponent talking to each other. I think they were watching videos.
Sharing notes, those little fuckers.
Yeah, good
colluding.
Good for them.
But they respected you enough to want to collude against you,
which I can appreciate. I like that. That makes me feel good.
Yeah,
but so he sits down, and I kind of expected this. I knew he was a leg locker, so kind of knew what to watch out for. I knew that he likes to go double outside or 50-50 for his attacks. Had some intel that he likes going saddle, but I wasn't really concerned about that just from the way that I play. So not like a super common entry that gets put on me. So like I wasn't super worried about it. But so, it's like, all right, well, step one, let's address the legs. We're going to get in close. We're going to start smashing. So started playing in on the body lock, working in, getting through, and I ended up getting into half guard. So I was working from half guard, went chest to chest, started smashing there, and looking for the pass from there. And actually, something I had been working on I meant to bring up this morning when we were working on it too. But so when that like tripod scenario, I've started liking hiking the underhook side elbow to elevate super high. Because whether or not I'm getting that arm, it puts you into that like single chest wrap without having to go all the way to mount. And so you get a really good pathway. Because either they try to turn that direction, give you the knee, or like you just have a really good control over the top. Get to the top. He ends up bellying. He ends up like trying to turtle, which fine for me. I like wrestling. Like that's a position I'm comfortable with. I actually end up from there. I go to like a 2-on-1. So like I pull one arm down. I get a wrist control on one side, and I feed through and get forearm control on the other. So I have like almost like a seatbelt, like a lap bar, like on a roller coaster.
There you go.
You want to think of it that way. And I use that to turn people, and it's actually been pretty effective. It's something I've recently started adding in for like my back control game. And you can either kind of like turn it into like a crab ride, use that to take the back, or it's a pretty good avenue just to turn the back down and take like north, south, or side control. And so I went from that, pulled him back, and switched right into the head and arm. And he goes to turn away, which I already had it really tight. Like it was a tight head and arm. He goes to turn away, so I switched it off into that like guillotine. So like dropped the elbow through, had that like reverse grip on it, and I mean, dude, it was tight. Dude was this back take, which I should point out, back take occurred across the wall. So like I did like a cool like little breakdance move through the wall. Used that slope.
Using that pit.
So like that was the first taste of using the pit wall, and I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. I did that like breakdance move through the wall. But got that tight grip on there, and dude was like grunting, snorting. You get that like gurgling sound, and I was like, all right, this is
starting
tight.
to work.
And but dude was tough. He didn't want to let go of it, or didn't want to tap. Like he was actually holding out really well. Must have had just enough space. And it's one of those things where like, all right, I have another match after this, burning out this like, I could just keep squeezing this and try to like just power through it, or like switch off to something else and, hopefully not burn out my arms and everything. We were in this position. This was probably at this point about halfway or more than halfway through the match. I don't know the exact time, but like we were pretty deep into the match at this point, and I held him there for a good portion of time. So it kind of reaches that point of like, all right, like how much time can we commit to this? So I switch off, get to the top, and like almost immediately I'm like, all right, this is submission only. I already know I'm kind of like winning in the judges scorecard. I've been attacking. I've been I've been the one attacking here. Went to had a couple other submission like attempts.
Yep.
So it's like, fuck it. I'm gonna prop him up and just like helicopter armbar.
Whoa.
So I just like threw that. It wasn't like it was good enough to like be a submission attempt, but like it didn't like lead to anything. I didn't get his arms apart. So then just, come back on top working there. And then with his long ass legs, he like at the very end throws up like a reverse triangle, like north-south style. And just to kind of like, he threw something up there and I just kind of postured up and I was like, I guess I'm just going to wait this out and wait for the bell at this point, which, whatever but I already knew at that point I'd done plenty for the win. I had a really close submission, like really near submission, to like where I thought the dude was going to pass out. And I thought I was going to get the sleep. A couple other submission attempts. I was aggressive on top, stifled everything that any attempt he had at like trying to put me back in guard or sweep or any of that. So, I was just on top the whole time attacking. So, like, as far as the security of the win, I already knew it was there.
You had it.
And so, he had it there. So just have to downplay his attempt right at that point where I think we were probably in the last 10 seconds at that point. So it's like, all right, let's just downplay his submission attempt and play it cool. But so first feeling in the pit, it was weirdly easy to playing the pit on the ground was pretty cool. Like that was fun. Like there's a lot of like cool ways to reapproach positions and like re-enter that in the pit versus flat ground versus the cage. But so that was eye-opening. I was like, all right, cool. Like I can use this pretty well here. So for, better or worse going into the second match. The second match, I got 5 minutes off, kind of did a quick download. Like, guys, like, dude, I think you just needed, James just like, I think you just need a little like twist or rotation to finish the sub. So I kind of felt what he was getting at there, that like, okay, I probably should have committed more towards taking the back for the finish than like staying kind of like, I had the hooks, but I only had one chest on his back versus like both sides of my chest, one pec. So like, I think if I just got a little more rotation, but it was one of those things where it's like, all right, like, what do you give up? What do you hold on to? This is like we were talking about earlier.
It's exactly like, what we talked about earlier.
What is?
I know what you mean.
What is the worth? What is like? Do I think I can finish this? Do I? And then at some point it's like, all right, I just have to like move on.
Yeah.
But so second match comes around, and this guy, the intel I had, I knew he had some wrestling background. Had some intel that like, he's a 50-50 guy. He does, or not 50-50, 10th Planet guy. Likes leg locks, but he also, it's a lot of like flashy submission attempts from the bottom. Kind of knew what to look out for. But one thing I didn't think about was we get in there and I'm actually pretty good at wrestling off my heels. That's partially from like Greco-Roman training, stuff like that. Like I'm very comfortable with like arm drag, stuff like that. So I don't mind wrestling off my heels. And I also have pretty decent like cage wrestling from MMA. But I didn't think about the fact that that's how different that is than the pit. Like that there's a difference in how you can pressure against the pit to wrestle. Like,
let me ask you
wrestling off of it.
Let me ask you a question on that. Do you think it's because of the slope?
Oh yeah,
because you can keep you can't walk off of a cage. You kind of can, but like there's no like incline that allows you to keep pretty sure footing. Like a pit, you can dig your feet into like that sloped surface.
Actually, the opposite.
Really?
So with the cage, you can press off the floor into the cage, right? To
you can bounce off the cage.
You can keep yourself up too.
I see what you're saying.
So like you can use the cage to like defend the takedown, whereas with the slope, like before you hit the pit wall, like you become light on your legs when by the time your back hits the wall.
I get it.
So like I think if you like get your feet on the wall too, it creates a different scenario. Like if you can put your feet back under you against the wall, it's something I'm gonna have to experiment with. But I think there are ways to keep your legs heavy. But so essentially the guy, trained in the pit daily, trains in a pit daily, has access to that, and knew that like, oh well, I'll just back him up towards the wall, and when he gets close, I'll give him just enough push to like get him against it.
He had a good strategy for
he had a really good strategy, good knowledge of the terrain, right? Like knew how to play that. And Jesus, I'm like you now.
How about? Well, maybe you need to have more knowledge of the terrain here, dude. Just quit whacking the fucking thing.
Big crazy arms.
I know.
But so, he had good knowledge of how to use the space and like, just nullified the wrestling game. Like just basically it was like, oh well, pushed me up against the wall, and once I leaned up against it, just kind of like not even really a takedown. It's just like just pulled my legs down, right? Like just kind of sat me down. And I was like, oh well shit, that wasn't what I thought was gonna happen. But like immediately got into half guard, knee shield. He was trying to be heavy on the head. His top pressure wasn't like smothering, so I wasn't really worried about it. Like it wasn't stopping me. He wasn't wasn't like flattening me out. He was trying to like be super head heavy, but it wasn't stopping my ability to progress. Was able to build up and wrestle up. But then another reentry of like use of the pit wall as we come up, it stops because we're in the corner. So, which by the way, found out, don't go in the corner of the pit. Terrible place to be. Don't want to be there.
He probably knew that too.
Which he also probably knew.
He was like, yo, like this is where I want to put this guy.
When you start off, don't angle your bodies towards the corner, go towards the flat walls at least, because like you have a lot more ability to work out of it. Because what happened when I wrestled up was as I came up, one, because it put him against the wall, I couldn't flatten him out to finish the wrestle up and like pin him. And because of that, one, it stops the progress of turning him down. But because I'm not against the wall, I'm able to still turn. And so my head drops right into the guillotine. And because he's not flat, he's already over top of my neck. And so like basically just wrestled right up into a guillotine. Which afterwards he was like, dude, like I was super worried about that guillotine. And like, he's like, I'm just really worried about that wrestle up, because if I got around that leg, like I'm on top. And, he probably saw some of my other, he's seen match footage, whatever. But like, I feel like, going back to the last episode, I feel like if I had gotten around those legs, it was probably a completely different story. Right. Just cause like, I didn't feel like there was a lot of pressure from him on top. And I just know that I can cook from the top.
Yep.
Like that is a very, like, if I get around that guard, that's my game or in my world. Easy peasy for me, easy pickings. But so it was another like scenario where like just use of that, like just how the pit changes, and whether or not, I don't know if he like specifically was like, oh, I'm just gonna, wedge myself in here and he's gonna rotate through. I don't know about that, but like he probably knows, hey, if we're in this place, I'm in a relatively safe spot, right? Like I imagine there's some of that.
It's probably safe to assume with his awareness of how to use the pit, he's very situationally aware.
Yeah,
like that terrain, as you said.
Yeah, so like he probably at least knew that the risk is lower, whether or not like he was like, oh, he's gonna wrestle up and he's just gonna fall into a guillotine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was like, oh, this is my game plan. Maybe, I don't know, but he probably knew. I think in the post fight, he was like, oh well, I knew once I have the head, I'm in a pretty safe spot. Like I'm in a pretty good spot for me. how much of that is talking for the camera, I don't know. But, I imagine there's a truth to that too, that like he knows he had head control. He probably felt pretty good considering we're wedged into the corner, all of that. So like, awareness wise, definitely like, and shout out to him. Like he knew where he was. He knew he kind of knew how he wanted to approach the terrain and the rule set. It was good. And so takeaways from that was how the terrain, your arena, so to say, changes the sport. And like, should the pit be the future of the sport? I kind of think so, dude. Like, I think that the way that like the verticality and like the addition of like creating that like 3D space, if
I know
you want to call it that, right?
I know what
like,
you mean.
Obviously, we're fucking 3-dimensional beings, but whatever.
Mm.
But like that creation of like a 3D mat space where like you can't go out of bounds. Also, like I think that it changes the game in a good way. I think the NGA pit's a little small. I think it should be a little bit bigger. It's not like tiny, but like there's definitely like
it's confined.
It's a couple steps, right? I mean, you've seen it.
I
like
have. Yeah.
It's definitely a pretty small space, so it's a little bit different than some of the other pit, like other formats that use the pit. But I think as like a tool, like as a like factor of the game, I think it's really good. Like I think it creates different things to think about. I think it's better than the cage, despite it not playing as well for me. But we're going to change that because we're going to practice in the pit. But I think it does. It changes the game of jiu-jitsu a lot because it does alter both standing and the ground game. And I think it does improve it because it does require you to think about where you're positioned. Because like IBJJF, it doesn't matter if I'm in the edge of the mat or the center of the mat, with the exception of the ref calling it out of bounds. It doesn't change how I can move or what I can play. It's better than a flat wall because I can use it from the top or the bottom in ways to like reverse and create new ways to enter and like wedge people and turn them. And like I think it adds a lot of dynamic movement to the game. I think that even in scenarios where there's decision and this is one where I know I said that I think the NGA pit's small, but like I think the CJI pit is too big. Like we saw that where like there wasn't a lot of use of the pit because they can easily not go to the edge. And in fact, a lot of the matches didn't use it. And so like I think it creates a lot of dynamic action, and even in scenarios where there isn't submission, it increases pace if you're kind of like required to, if there's places where when you get to it, you have to change how you move because now like, oh shit, I hit a wall. How do I I can't go that way anymore. How do I change this position so I can go in a direction that advances my position? And so it just creates it can create more scramble, or at least appearance of scramble and like moments of change of pace. So it increases like action and watchability, I guess, is another aspect to it. Cause like, how much time are you watching? You're watching a match and like, they action stop. Everybody move back to the middle. We're going to rebuild the position. All right, ready, set, go again. And like, it makes it hard to watch, but the way that the pit format works, I think it makes it easier to watch because there's not breaking action. There's no stopping to like reset. And so you get like there's more mobility. There's moments of creativity that can occur that you won't see in other formats or other in like a flat mat. So, I thought it was really cool. I mean, you've watched a few of them. I don't know if you have takes on it.
I was actually going to ask you, like, question for you too. I love like you said, I think there's definitely a future for the pits. Seems like more and more people are using it. And it's exciting to watch. You're right. The NGA one does seem a little bit tight, but I think they're doing a good job of trying something different. And it's we've talked about this so many times. I mean, the highlight reel moment of the tag team match and that was fucking awesome. I think it does. There's probably room for improvement for sure, but maybe it is widening it out a little bit, but like you said, not too much, because it does force that exciting action that the sport of jiu-jitsu needs if they want to create bigger exposure and more eyes. It brings an intensity that I like. But anyways, dude, I'm curious to know, knowing what you know now, imagine you were coaching, take a step like outside of your body. If you were coaching yourself or coaching someone who plays like you, I mean, you could pick either one of your opponents. Maybe it's the second guy, because that's, it's inspiring more of a problem-solving thought process for you. But like, hey, like looking back, what would you coach a person to do differently? Under like, and primarily leveraging the pit, but it could be whatever. But like, if that's kind of the main differentiator for a new stimuli, like what are these new data inputs? Like, what's your thought on that?
I think I'd coach I would have, specifically if it was me in that scenario, I probably would have told myself to just play a tighter game, like go for more, like not, it doesn't even have to be like forward pressure, but like just go in, like get in close, play the close game for the wrestling rather than a distance game. Don't be on your I think being on your heels in the pit is not beneficial. I shoot well off it because I can shoot off my back. I can wrestle well that way because I can shoot off my back foot. Like I can shoot either way. So like I can shoot off my back foot. So walking backwards doesn't take away my ability to wrestle. But when you're in a confined space like that, you don't have room to go backwards. Going backwards is ultimately going to be a losing strategy, is what I think in that format.
That's a big one, man.
So I think I would have been telling myself, hey, we're going to go forward pressure or circle, but either way, we need to be walking forward, even if it is, hey, we're going to circle to our toes versus circle to our heels. Because if we're circling towards our heels, we're going to go backwards. That's like super minutia, circling on your toes versus the heels. If you don't understand that, sorry, just mean like we're circling in a forward direction versus like pulling them, we're pushing them. But so I think I would have been telling myself to, hey, we want forward pressure, want driving in, even if it means we're just going to stay in place, right? Like, even if it means that both of us are staying where we started, I want to be moving forward, so that I am not going backwards. Staying in position in the middle is going to ultimately be better on your feet. So I think that would have been one. I think also on the wrestle up. So given, hey, we ended up in the same position coming up on the wrestle up, I probably would have also, rather than wrestling up and in, I would have gone contra considering to what I did. I would have wanted to pull back. So wrestle and suck him back rather than trying to wrestle and drive him forward. Because of the position of the wall, driving in, it puts him straight up against it. I think.
So you can create some elevation.
Yeah, if I could like bring his hips into me rather than bringing my hips into him. So like to complete the wrestle up, like to complete the sweep. I think if I had, because then I could have brought my head outside. Because I wrestled up and in, my head stayed inside. So I was head across like a single leg. I basically put myself into a single leg. But if I sucked him back, we would have ended up in like a body lock position, just the way that everything could have worked out. So I should have wrestled up and sucked him back, pulled him back, versus wrestling up and driving in, because wrestling up and driving in stopped motion. It put him in a seated position, had me in a position where my head was forward. He was seated over top of it, essentially. So I think I would have told myself to wrestle away from the wall first, like wrestled up and away from the wall. So circle out and back versus up and in, because up and in put us into a position where I could not flatten him out.
Mm-hmm.
So like if that's At least that's my assumption from what I believe that bird's eye view looks like.
Yep.
There was an issue with the stream, so I can't get like the footage to really break it down, like see, but that's what it kind of felt like happened. Like as I came up, it wedged. So I think as you're trying to get out, you want to get away from the wall, like your body away from the wall, so that you can then re-engage and push them back into it. But I think if you're trying to come out and you're keeping the pressure into the wall, it stops so much momentum that you don't complete your move, right? Like you don't actually, I wasn't able to actually get out. So I think if I was able to go away in this scenario, it would have protected my neck, kept me out of that position to where him getting wedged in wasn't going to also cause me to end up in a bad position.
Got it.
Other things would be, so I mean, basically your safest spot is in the middle of the pit because there isn't, at least for like protecting your motion. And then once you have control, you want to wedge them into you want to take away their ability to go in a direction. So like if you can wedge them into that like corner, specifically the corner, being stuck in the corner is the worst place because you're blocked on like 3 sides essentially. Because like you can't go north, you can't go south, you can't go sideways. So that seems to be the place you want to put somebody, and being against against the border wall, like just the flat wall, seems to be less bad and can kind of go either way. So like depending on what the scenario is. So yeah, I think I would have, forward pressure on the feet. I think that would have changed a lot because then we would have actually had some wrestling exchange. I think that ultimately in a wrestling exchange, I'm more likely to win than, not in a wrestling exchange. And that also would have given me more opportunity to not be on the bottom, not have to be wrestling back up, not having to reestablish position, which then creates more scenarios for them to be on the attack, right? Like once you're on defense, you're on defense. So, whereas I do better on offense, like a lot of people. So I would say that would be kind of like the in moment advice I would be giving myself, like, hey, let's hand fight closer. Let's drive in. Let's be the aggressor here. So
we just got to get our hands on the pit now.
Yeah. We need to get a pit wall, at least just like one corner, like even just a corner section could make a huge difference for anyone who wants to do that, like compete in the pit. Mm-hmm. So,
all right.
But what other takes do you have? Or any ideas or questions regarding the pit, or ideas about how terrain and jiu-jitsu?
Well, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like you said. I mean, the biggest thing being like there are no resets unless you somehow climb out of the pit, but
I think that's a disqualification.
Oh, well, there you go. That's
at least it should be.
That's the ultimate reset.
Fleeing the ring.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, dude, it's I mean, I haven't competed in a pit yet. I've watched and I've coached in the pit a couple times. But I've seen now like a couple dozen matches going to these NGA events live, watching CGIs and stuff like that. And I think the UFC is now using a pit too.
Yeah, they're using like that bowl,
circular kind of thing, which is different. There aren't corners, I don't think. But
yeah, that's a very like I imagine that is probably because it's kind of like ergonomic, right? Like
ergonomic. I know what you mean. It's rounded.
Yeah, it's rounded. Like you kind of like, I don't know. It's less of it's not really like a slope. I don't know. It's more wall like.
Yeah. Well, either way, a lot of people are doing this, and yeah, dude. I mean, it's noticeable. I was saying the word intensity insofar as like the close quarters nature of everything, has a major impact, and I mean, like it's with limited access, with no access to like using it. I have no experience applying jiu-jitsu, wrestling, whatever, applying any grappling in that environment with my hands on it. And that's in a lot of ways how I like to learn. So I my takeaways are that, like you said, like I mean, if you're not aware of how to use that environment. If you're there, like, don't let it be used against you. Now, that's easy to say. It's not easy to do if you don't have that awareness. So with that being said, like, the one thing that we do know is that there's this urgency to create action, ideally on the best terms possible. So it's like, if you don't know how to use the terrain, use the urgency of action to initiate and like keep pressing, keep improving as much as possible. I recall the match that Knack had in the trio when it was him, Tim, and Colton a couple months back. And Knack took out 2 of the 3 opponents that they had back to back to back. And the third one, he was saying that in all of the matches it was relevant, but he found a way to submit the first 2 opponents. The third one, he vocalized what you said, which was that, like, I was on top, but I was having a hard time controlling and isolating limbs, isolating my attacks the way I would on a flat surface, which is why he couldn't pull off the submission in the third match. And so, like, I think this is Art of War. I have the book somewhere on this table right here.
It's over there somewhere.
Understanding that terrain, dude, it's really important.
I see Tides of War.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably elements of that in Tides of War. That's a book about
I think it's over here.
It's right there. I can see it.
Oh, you see it?
Yeah. It is.
It's over there, guys.
It's over here, guys. Don't worry. I actually have it. But yeah, that's one of the first principles for this purpose. It's like sort of, I mean, maneuvering as another art of war, another tactic, another strategy of the art of war. Like, it's directly impacted by what your feet are standing on, what your dude's feet are standing on. Because your maneuvering will be limited by the terrain that you're on. That's what we've basically just talked about for the last like 40 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's a huge game changer. So, I would love to find a way for us to get in on some pit training somewhere. It'd be cool. It looks fun. Everyone who does it seems like they're having like a good time. Like, you sound like sounds like you want to do it again.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm going to be doing it again in November.
Yeah. There you go.
I've got that lined up. I'm actually going to do some of the tag teams. So that'll be fun.
Hell yeah.
I want to get some real chaos going. Yeah, November is my fun month for competitions. I have
you like chaos, and I
thrive in
whether or not it's gonna be provided for you. I have a feeling you'll create some, which is gonna be even better. So yeah, but dude, in the meantime, let's see if we can't find a place to get you some pit training, man.
Yeah,
I mean, we have walls at DMA, which we could somehow try to use something like, at least to get your, I don't know, like your back limited, but
in like that, if you're facing that back right corner, I think that would be a good spot for it, because it's kind of.
But how would we do it? Like, what would we'd have to get like a wedge? We'd have to build something that we could literally slide into that corner.
You have to just build an incline
section of some capacity. Yeah, got it. Open to ideas, but and yeah, build it.
If you have extra mat, like, which I think you have extra sections, right?
We do somewhere.
So it's just like it's basically just a 90-degree. You build like a triangle. That's it. It's just it's just a triangle frame, and then reinforce. There are ways. We'll pull up some blueprints.
It's definitely doable. I know what you mean.
A little bit of woodwork, some power tools.
Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah, man, I think that'd be beneficial for you. Like, get you some opportunities to play in that.
Yeah, it'd be. We're talking about. Professor doesn't know we're talking about this, but the coaches have been talking about just building one. It comes up every other week about building a pit wall in the coach chat over at Battlefield.
Build it.
It's fun.
If you build it, they will come.
Oh, it'll happen. But yeah, so something else, and I think the confinement too definitely rewards that aggression, because whoever, with it being such a small space in the pit for NGA, it rewards whoever initiates, whoever is the more aggressive with going forward is more likely. And I bet you we could pull up, like, create like a scatter plot or something of like initiate forward aggression to victory. Like, you could probably take every single match, and whoever initiates forward action first probably wins every single time.
It makes sense, man.
Or at least most of the time.
It's one thing you can control.
Yeah.
And like, back to what I was saying, if you don't have that data on how to use the pit, like, you might have to over leverage that. it's something. It's sort of just like, all right, knowing what we know, without a ton of hands-on experience, like one thing that you can do is just drive the action, like you said.
And the other thing that I saw be somewhat successful was guys that, and actually a lot of the blue belt quintet, like at least I saw like the first round and a half. There was like no, like very minimal pit play.
Really?
So like you had guys who would basically sit in the middle of the pit and initiate, like they weren't just sitting down and waiting. Like they would sit in the pit and then start going so that they could basically take out the threat of the wall, right? Like now, hey, I'm already on the ground. I don't have to worry about getting pushed into a corner because I'm already attached to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like the other, like, I don't know, in my mind, non-committally aggressive, but
well, it's initiating action.
Yeah,
it's like saying we're fighting right here.
Yeah.
Right here in the middle.
Yeah. So like I think that was the other like guys who
shout out the guard pulling.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, like I mean, it's
at least they were initiating,
no,
like, not waiting.
It's strategic, dude. It like everything for all the reasons we're talking about here. It's those guys saying like, "Fuck that, this is where it's going down." Like I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. We don't have to like it, but like I don't dislike it either. I get it.
Being like, hey, I don't want my back against the pit.
We're fighting right here.
I'm
We're fighting right here.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that was, and I think that kind of, it probably still like plays into that, like, obviously this is confirmation bias, but into that, like, I'm initiating action. I'm the one who won, right? Like, I think it works into that, like,
I could see that.
Hey, I'm initiating versus like if they sat down and the person approaches, which is in my first match, basically what happened, the guy slap, bump, he sits, and then I enter. I'm initiating action.
You can still initiate action in those circumstances.
So like, he sat down, he might have wrote the rules of like, here's where we're engaging, but I, the one who
took back the initiative,
I used my right of initiation.
That's right.
From this morning.
That's right.
Writ of initiation.
Did.
But so we're very old timey, very medieval war tactics.
Language, yeah.
But so like I think that definitely also plays into creating, like, altering the rule set in a way that like whoever initiates and attacks, which I guess probably works for most jiu-jitsu, right? The guy who puts the match on the ground is the one who normally wins, right? Like,
dude, maintaining the initiative. This is another art of war thing. Yeah, you got to dictate the fight.
Yeah,
initiative is it's a concept in combat, dude.
Whoever is the step ahead wins. So I mean, I think it amplifies it in the pit. So I think the pit amplifies that factor more than flat ground because there's
a limitation for where the action can take place. So it's like it's happened. You like you said, it's the first guy to initiate. Like that has many variations, but there's no stalling out the initiation due to the limit. Like you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, and like
you have to initiate.
Yeah, and so like there is no, hey, I'm just gonna walk away from your attempts because you can't walk away. You can't go out of bounds. You can't get pushed out of bounds. So it just amplifies that factor, and so like it speeds up the process of getting to the match, right? Because how many matches do you see where it's just guys just patty caking on their feet because nobody wants to go for the first move and screw up and lose, right? Like, so you get these two matches with these guys who maybe they're not like super sure in their ability to wrestle or be on their feet, but they also don't want to guard pull because of whatever they know about the other guy, right? Or their lack of confidence in their ability to fight from there. And so you get these guys that aren't quite sure where to initiate. But when you take away the ability to reset in the middle, it forces somebody will ultimately get that first move because one way or another, someone's ending up into the wall, or somebody just decides I don't want to be in the wall, so I'm just going to sit right here and we're going to play like that. So it definitely like speeds up the process. Like a 5-minute round has way more action in that than a 5-minute round in IBJJF just because of the confinement. So I think, so I guess we'll just kind of sum it up because otherwise we're going to talk in circles. But I think that I think it should be a big portion. Like, I think more stuff in the pit will be popping up. And we've had just in this area, just like NGA, a local.
They've been
actually
man.
not even locals. They're kind of regional. They've been in a few different states. But like, there's been a lot of demand for that. You have a lot of people building pit walls, and like, this is all within the last year. Like, within a calendar year, this has been happening.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, CJI 1 was announced. People started, and once they said, "Hey, we're gonna do this in the
they got it from Karate Combat, I think."
Yes, but I think once they kind of took it and mainstreamed it into jiu-jitsu, like, they took the Karate Combat, like, they did a couple. I think Craig Jones did a few super fights there, and was like, basically took that idea and was like, "Hey, we're gonna jam this into the canon of jiu-jitsu."
Mm-hmm.
Like, now this is an avenue for jiu-jitsu now. And once that happened, people were like, "Oh shit, let's get on this train. Let's start." So people started putting pits in their gyms. I mean, heck, I think 10th Planet Fredericksburg is the one that has it. And so, like, they put a pit wall in. A bunch of people started putting pit walls in. They have a pit wall over at Vanguard too. But it immediately became, like, within the last just over a year, it has become a big portion, or has become a part of, like,
training.
This is what jiu-jitsu can become. Yeah. So, like, there's definitely a big avenue that way. And so we should definitely look at that as like a future thing and start training for that. People should start to, there's going to be some cool game planning, and not avoiding the use of it, but like figuring out creative ways to use it. I think it opens up some cool jiu-jitsu as well, just like interesting new avenues. And there could be some cool evolution to the game that might not have been possible without creating that new, like, hey, we're adding verticality to this. We're adding this new confinement to the game, new constraints, if you want to do some, talking eco CLA, but like, any sort of adjustment or confinement, constraining of the rules, or changing of the rules. I think it's just good. I think it's just a good way to grow the sport, because otherwise it's just, how many different ways can we entangle legs? And, it changes like what the metas and what people are developing, versus just like, oh, well, I do this ankle lock a little bit differently, and now it's this new ankle lock, right? Like, think that just creates more interesting things and opens up new avenues for people, outside of, just everyone, versus people who like a specific game. Like, it doesn't have to be leg locks. It can be these other things, because now we have a new realm of the sport that takes place. So
I got it.
Anything to
You're
add?
here. No, I love it.
All right. I talked a lot. This is
your fight recap.
Yeah. That was a little fight recap. That was a small portion of it. And then just some like dogmatic discussion regarding the pit and masters. How I think it should be the future.
Pit crew.
Ooh, pit crew. So, just some discussion on the pit future, how we think that can move the sport forward. I think in kind of the merits of it, and versus like the traditional way that we train and consume jiu-jitsu, I guess. But as always, guys, this was Fighters Drinking Coffee. As always, follow us on the socials at Fighters Drinking Coffee on Instagram. Find Scott on there too. He's there.
I'm on Instagram at Scott Dance BJJ. At Scott Dance BJJ.
At Scott Dance BJJ. You can find me at Get Sudsy. If you want to see what we're up to sometimes. And sometimes I post stupid shit. So if you want to see some stupid shit, check that out too. And then also on your listening apps, guys, this is the biggest one for us. On wherever you listen to the podcast, hit that subscribe button, review the show, drop some comments. I'll look for them. But let us know what you guys think. Hit that review. 5 stars is ideal.
5 stars.
I don't care.
Just do 5 stars.
Just do 5 stars.
No other questions. Just do it.
Hit 5 stars.
Fucking do it.
And that'll get us out to that'll spread our reach. Helps us out in like the Spotify, iTunes algorithms. So that moves us. That puts us in the eye of the public. I guess that's how it works. More people seeing it means more people listening, which means more stuff we can do for you guys, which also leads me to the Discord. We'll have the link to that in the show notes. Join the Discord. You guys that are already in there have been great, dropping us some extra questions to ask guests, questions for us. It helps us like direct this content in a way that helps you guys, because ultimately without you guys, we're just talking into a microphone. So this gives us a way to like direct our content towards what you, the listener, wants to hear from us. So check that out. And we should have some cool stuff coming down the pipe. We're working on with Cruise Combat, which you can also find some discount codes for in the show notes as well. So check it out, guys. Thank you for listening. Fire's Drinking Coffee. Bye.
Bye. Peace out, Boy Scout. Girl Scout.